Okay, so what we want to do now, just like we did before, we want to chain up 5. So every time you're doing a rotation, no matter how big you make this thing, you're always going to chain up 5 once you get past the slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what you're going to do now, you know how we came into the center point of this connecting right here? We're no longer going to do that. You're going to wrap your needle around, and do you see how the 2 puffs are here and then there's 2 right in the middle? You want to go directly into the very middle, so right into there with that. So just pull it through 2 and 2. Okay, so what you want to do is now you are actually on a corner, so you're only doing the one side of it. So you're going to wrap your material around and go into the next biggest hole and put 5 puff stitch of 5 in there. So basically you're looking for 6 loops to be left on your hook. So there you go, pulling it through all 6. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now you're jumping to the next, so you can see where the next corner is. See how these 2 are right, see how the 2 are right there? Well, the 2 are over there as well. So that is the very corner. So now you're going to continue to jump across, putting puff stitches all the way along the edge until you get to a corner. Because the last rotation we did, we've established turning it from a square or circle to a square. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is the hole before the corner, so you're going to use that one as well for a puff stitch of 5. Okay, pulling it through 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to do a corner, so you're going to wrap your needle around, and do you see if you pull it apart, you'll see the 2 puffs here, the singles there, and it's right in the center. So just wrapping your needle around, go right into the center point, pulling it through, pull through 2 and 2, and now let's chain 2, 1 and 2. Okay, and let's go back into the same point. Okay, 2 and 2. So basically, just how this is kind of like separating out, see that? It's creating it there as well, and that's exactly what you want. So now we just attached there, so let's chain 2, 1, and 2. Okay, and we want to put the next puff in the next available space, which is right there, for a puff of 5. Okay, so now you got 6 on there, pull it through. Okay, just look for the next space and put another puff in there. Once you've got your pattern established, which it is now, it's just a matter of just keep going around this thing now until you're about the size that you want. So pull through 1, 2, 3. Okay, wrapping your needle around, going through. As long as you remember to hold on your needle when you need to create the puffs, then I think you're laughing. Okay, now you got 6 on there, pull through all 6. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now you're officially on a corner, so just wrap your needle around. See, and you can tell you're on a corner just because there's no puff left, right? So wrap your needle around, just go right into the center point of that corner, pulling it through 2 and 2. And now let's chain 2, 1 and 2, and going into that same hole. You see that? Going into the same one to create the kind of like upside down, or the V shape that you need. So in order to finish the corner off, you need to chain 2 again, 1 and 2, and then jump to the next available space for the next puff. For a puff of 5. And this is really cheap wool that I'm working with right now, but these puffs make this blanket feel or this feel really soft. 2, 3. So it's a really cheap way to make a soft blanket with cheap wool without having to buy the special baby wool. But I'm sure mums might appreciate the baby wool, but if you can't afford it, this patterning is lovely. Okay, so you got 6, pulling it through. Okay, you got a group of 6, pulling it through all 6. Whoops, I dropped it. So carefully, I'm just sticking it all back in, all 6. Pulling it out, let's try it again. Pull it through. 1, 2, and 3. I'm now on a corner, so just wrap your needle around, go right into the corner section. Pulling it through 2 and 2, and now chain 2, 1 and 2, going into the same hole. Pulling it through 2 and 2, and to finish it off, we chain 2, 1 and 2. Okay, and now the puff goes into the next available stitch, or the next available hole. And we are almost all the way around again. And okay, so you got 6, pulling it through. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and the next, jump to the next hole for the next puff. Or should I say puff? Okay, pulling it through all 6. 1, 2, and 3. And then putting another puff in here. And this will be the final puff before we slip stitch it and make this whole rotation 1. Okay, so you got your 6, pulling it through. Okay, and then 1, 2, and 3, and now you can tell, like, see how this is standing out like it is. You're just going to look at it and see where it's starting to make that turn. That is exactly where you want to slip stitch, and you have to do that. You'll do that every time. Okay, so you want to catch it right in the actual stitch itself in order for, because if you catch it, if you like go right into the center point like this, it's going to slide and it's not going to define that corner. So you need to catch it so that there's strings on both sides of your hook so that it locks it into that position. So pulling it through and through. And so this is the puff stitch. Like so, and so both sides, see this side looks really nice. And yeah, so I would do that for a baby's blanket. Yeah, so there you go.